the mother of New Horizons, the clam lady who saved an endangered species, and a sister who helped create 2 medical clinics. The road she traveled was different for each of these women and others who were profiled at Longfellow Middle School during the 2005-2006 school year. Docudramas written by students and posted on the Longfellow website will keep their stories alive. Even more significantly, the experience of hearing their stories will have a lifelong impact. One of the women interviewed was Sue Mercer, who was working at the La Crosse YWCA when the question of a shelter for battered women was first addressed after she attended a conference on domestic violence.
I had never really thought about or knew anything about domestic violence before that, and it was a day-long Saturday conference. And talked to a couple of other people at the conference and talked to some other people after that and realized that we all kind of knew it was there, but nobody really talked about it.
In part because of her efforts, New Horizons opened in 1978, just 4 years after the first shelter for battered women opened anywhere in the country. It has provided shelter for hundreds of women who often leave homes with nothing in fear of their lives. Marissa Meyer conducted the interview and created the docudrama on Mercer.
I mainly learned that if you have an opinion, you can't just be quiet about it. You have to let everyone, if you think you can make a difference, you have to do it no matter what other people are going to think.
The Road She Traveled project was done in collaboration with the League of Women Voters. It celebrated the 10th anniversary of the League's publication of the book For the Common Good, A History of Women's Roles in La Crosse County, 1920 to 1980. The book was written by Margaret Larson. It celebrated women in La Crosse County history. League member Jean Mark.
Margaret and I helped identify some community women we thought should be interviewed. There were some on our list that couldn't do it this year, and it's going to be an ongoing project, so people who weren't included this year will be included later.
Among those interviewed was Marian Havlick, who was dubbed the Clam Lady by her husband because she had become so involved in the plight of mussels after a child's 5th grade science fair project piqued her interest. Her expertise about mussels grew, as did her belief in the need for regulation to prevent their extinction.
So I just pushed and pushed, and I was always in their face, if you want to put it that way. And so eventually they started to listen, and I have seen people in the Corps of Engineers do a 180-degree turn from the way they started to view these. It used to be mussels, it was a big joke. Well, it isn't a joke anymore.
Later, Havlick became the person called by the Department of Natural Resources to identify mussels to make sure they were not among the endangered.
The biggest thing that happened is that I was in the right place at the right time with the right information when Higgins eye was put on the federal endangered species list. This was in 1976. And I had a Higgins eye from Prairie du Chien. I had the identification confirmed.
Natalie Weber, who interviewed Havlick, learned far more than just information about mussels.
I learned to follow your dreams and stand up what you believe in and not be in the background and let things that you think are wrong just slip by. And I think a lot of people care about a lot of things that are happening to our society, but they don't want to take a stand.
Someone who took a stand was Sister LeClaire Barris, who was the founding director of both the Indo-Chinese Clinic and the St. Clair Health Mission. Her experience working as a nurse on the island of Guam was the reason she was selected to create the Indo-Chinese Clinic to meet the needs of the immigrants from Southeast Asia coming to La Crosse in the 1980s.
At that time, and as I was telling Elissa, at that time there were no people of other cultures in La Crosse.
Later, she started the St. Clair Health Mission after a student found 10,000 county residents without medical coverage and ineligible for other state and federal programs.
That's 1/10 of our population was being underserved, and that has increased since that time.
Student Alyssa Gilbertson.
I learned that even though women make a difference in La Crosse, they're not always known for it, and I think that it's really important that they do get recognized.
Teacher Jean Halderson said her students learned much from the project.
The kids learned a multitude of things from this project. It's obviously a language arts project with reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And so we did all of the academic areas, but there are other things that the students gained from this project. Many of them were made more aware of what is going on in our own community.
Larson agreed.
Women have always been working behind the scenes. They're the ones that have been setting the moral tone, the values within the family, raising the children to go on to do things to make their community and their world better. When we had one of our first meetings with the teachers and they asked me what one of the outcomes would be that I would want from this project, I said, I want every kid to develop a curiosity and excitement about history so that they'll understand their place in time and want to learn more.